Ah! Why did it do that? This is not going to take very long at all. There's very, very few parts here.
I'll be shaking like a leaf.
Oh, hello.
My hand will be shaking that fine.
This is not going to take very long. There's hardly any parts on this thing.
Looking good. That's a nice grab you've got there.
Grab?
Yeah, your frame for holding it.
Oh, yeah, I got that from Radio Shack. A couple of years ago, they put them on clearance. I think it was $20.
$20.
It's one of the... Yeah, it's a fancy pan device.
Yes, good bit of kit. Evening, son.
So what exactly are you soldering together here?
This is a kit for the MC-10 computer. It adds 128K of RAM. This computer actually only comes with 4K of RAM, and the only upgrade that Radio Shack ever sold was a 16K, and so this one adds a ridiculous amount of RAM to an 8-bit processor. It's also supposed to add something to save files to the serial port, but I haven't found any information on how you run the server for that.
Oh, what you do for the other end?
Yeah. The manual talks about all of the add-ons to the BASIC that it includes, and then the hardware manual talks about all the parts, but there's nothing about the server side that says what you use.
Oh, okay, I see. Oh, you're soldering in sockets, so you don't have to be super careful about the heat.
No. Although I don't think I've ever fried a chip from heat anyway.
Well, I don't think I've fried one either, but I've certainly ended up putting, although I suppose this is true for a socket too, but I put too much heat in one spot too fast and, you know, melted some of the plastic.
Yeah, I've done that. I'm not sure I've done that on a chip, though. I keep forgetting to use the flux pen.
Well, there's flux in the solder, isn't there?
There is, but putting it on the copper on there sure makes it a lot easier.
Really?
But yeah, it sticks a lot better.
I've never done that.
But I haven't had the pen very long, so I always forget.
Mm-hmm.
So I just hacked. What's that?
at least it looks from the looks of it, it looks like you're at least using a real soldering iron.
Oh yeah, I've got a Hacko 888. It's the digital one. Yeah, that is a nice soldering iron. So I just tack the two corners, the two diagonal corners first.
Saw that, yes.
And then I reach underneath and press it in, make sure that it's completely flat.
Yeah, good point. Yeah, I haven't actually had a chance to really solder something for a few years.
Yeah, I did a hangout a few months ago when I got the Coco SDC kit, and that was a lot more parts. That was actually took a little longer, but it still didn't take very long.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I'd love to sit here, but I actually have to get back to work and get some stuff done this afternoon.
Work?
That's why I've come in to replace you.
All right, thanks a lot.
See ya.
So at least those are nice big lands.
They're really tiny. They're very, very tiny. There's the mask. It's covered them up quite a bit. They're just barely larger than the pins.
Crazy. Yeah, I've been doing some really small stuff lately on wildlife transmitters, and
Surface mount stuff.
yeah, I mean,
I hate working on that stuff because they always bridge.
yeah, totally. It's a pain in the ass, but the fun part is the stuff that I've got to reflow on these. They're coming out like 7 millimeters by 8 millimeters with an MCU on it, an accelerometer, a discrete parts VHF radio, and a real-time clock on the backside. And it's just like, my God. And somehow they're assembling at a reasonable rate. So,
Are you doing it with a soldering iron?
I'm reflowing the MCU and the accelerometer, and then the rest of the stuff is soldering iron. So it's just.
I have these little tiny. I don't even know what the number is. Digital potentiometers that I don't have a reflow, so I was using the soldering iron, and it was a trick to not bridge everything.
Yeah, no, I've been cheating actually. I've got a scrap frying pan that I drop on my gas burner stove, and it does the reflow. So.
Haven't modified a toaster oven yet, huh?
Pardon me?
You haven't modified a toaster oven yet?
No, I'm hopefully not going to have to do many more of these. The contract is up very shortly, so with a bit of luck, I'll have another handful to assemble, and then make sure the guys in the factory are able to do it. So. I realized the last time I was there visiting them that I had more patience for setting them up than they typically did.
I forgot the picture.
No, it's funny. That's the one thing. When I started this project, I'd done almost zero soldering in my life.
Really?
And, yeah, it was. I've come to this from the software side, and found myself playing with Arduinos a bit. And one day, a neighbor I knew has this little company that does these wildlife transmitters, and he didn't have anything digital. And I thought, hey, that can't be that hard. Get up a prototype for him, and next thing you know, it's real work. But boy, did I learn to love flux. You're used to your when you start up, you've got these rosin core solders that just seem to make it irrelevant for most of the work. But
right.
then you start getting small, and it's like, forget it. So.
Yeah, especially when I make my own circuit boards on the CNC. Since I have such huge amounts of copper, the flux really makes a big difference.
Yeah, just
Otherwise, you have to get it really, really hot to get it to start to stick.
totally. Yeah, I guess the fun part about this one is that the last transmitter I've gotten done for them is actually my first 4-layer board, and
Wow.
I can't do them myself, obviously, but it's they've come back actually reasonably nice as a horrible field array of way too many bits and pieces. But the first version came out way too thick. I'll someday start getting a feeling for what 62 mil is versus 31.
Yeah, mostly I've only been doing single-sided stuff because that's what's easiest to do on the.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, doing vias, I still have no idea how. Well, I guess I'd get set up for plating and your world paint. So.
These are so small, it's hard to tell if I'm filling them in all the way, or what looks like a hole is just the angle.
Yeah, on the days when I go into the lab, there's a nice little stereo microscope I can use, which makes life a little easier. But I've gotten used to now doing these just with a loop. And
Oh yeah, they're fine. It's just that at this angle, they're right at the bottom is black, and so it looks like it hasn't filled in the hole all the way, and it's fine. Yeah, forgot again. Not a habit yet.
Yeah, I mean, it is something watching. I mean, the guys at this factory where they do these little transmitters in Ottawa, and it's amazing watching these guys just working on 0402 components freehand, just dropping them on, and instead of blue tack, it's flux, just little dab draws and hold everything in place, and the cleanest iron tips I've ever seen. This is a memory kit you're putting together?
Yeah, it adds 128K of RAM to the MC-10. The MC-10 only has 4K of RAM stock.
My God. I remember those bad old days. I just it's been funny, I from in a previous life I used to work for Intel and worked on GPU product, and you start looking at how many scary things you're working with there, and then you turn around and I'm sitting here playing with the microcontrollers, going, okay, there's a nice little 8-bit machine, easy to understand, but even that has something that's like 8K of memory.
Yeah, I just upgraded the to the ATmega 328 on one of the old ones, and it's only got 2K RAM, but it's got 32K flash.
Yeah. That you can self-program if you really get hard up.
Yeah.
So.
And it's got another 1K of EEPROM.
Yeah, this is done on an ATtiny 84, which is the 8K flash, 2K RAM version. And it's just enough. The biggest pain in the ass is that debugging strings take up more space than anything else.
I think it's funny when I say, "Oh, I want to do this thing on these," and they're like, "Oh, well, you can't do that. There's just not enough room on those." It's like, come on, we used to do that stuff on these 8-bit microcomputers all the time.
Well, and you know, the magic on these, of course, is that they have such rich hardware support just on board.
Yeah.
You know, it's all SPI is trivial. I can talk to the other chips easily. This thing, duty cycles in use is, you know, 0.5% maybe. Just it spends almost no time running instructions compared to waiting for whatever the next thing is the transmitter has to do. So.
Right, and you have no operating system, so you can just write loops to do all your timing. You don't have to deal with too many interrupts.
Yep.
You don't have to deal with anything else taking away the CPU from you.
Yeah, I tried playing with the Raspberry Pi for a little while and it just pissed me off. Just had too much, just too much operating system to play with the little hardware bits.
What I ended up doing was I ended up writing a kernel mode driver so that I could get in there and control the timing exactly.
Yep. But it's a pain in the ass.
Yeah, it actually wasn't that bad. And what I did it for was I did it for the Commodore 64. I needed to write a driver so that I could make the Raspberry Pi pretend that it's a disk drive.
Okay.
And so I had to get in there with the kernel, with the module on the kernel, and the only way to do it was to use loops, because you couldn't do the timing that precise. There was no way to just delay. So I had to just loop and delay, which I did not like doing in the kernel because I had to turn off interrupts and everything. But it goes so fast that it hasn't been a problem.
Yeah, I could use a drive simulator right now. I've got, actually the product must exist. The little programmer jig that they have to use to upload the code onto the microcontroller is driven off of a little micro SD card. And it's a royal pain in the ass for debugging because you're always, you know, popping the card in and out.
Oh yeah.
There's got to be someone who makes a micro SD shaped header you can just drop in there, hanging the wires off of, just talking.
Micro SD header with Wi-Fi.
Perfect.
Yeah, that was why I like doing that with the Commodore. Was instead of having to carry floppies around or putting them in and take it back to the real computer, put it in. I got NASA on my Commodore 64 now.
Nice.
Those look good. Let's not forget the box and stuff.
That's enough code for today. You've inspired me to actually sit down and build a couple more of these things. What are you using for a camera setup for your picture-in-picture stuff?
I have two. I have one up here and one there. Logitech 9000s. and I'm using XSplit to pretend that it's the webcam, and that feeds over to the Google Hangout that runs in the web browser. I think XSplit's sticking a watermark. Yeah.
Oh yeah, there it is. Conveniently puts the watermark not on top of people's faces, or under. Someone was thinking.
Yeah, it's the free version, so I just live with it. So we get those on there straight.
Apologies for dropping in. I saw your tweet.
Oh, welcome.
It's been a long time since I did anything at this level. This is TRS-80. Is this a Zilog based or?
It's this one is a 6803 based.
Bringing back fond memories of the early, I want to say late 80s building big board 2s.
It's this thing. Where's the camera?
Oh, superb.
So this it's similar to the Cocos, but it uses a 6803 instead of the 6809, and the basic's a little bit different, and obviously it doesn't have as much I/O.
Sure.
Let's see which way.
And, wow, these are kits you can buy today. Unreal.
And so this kit, that thing only has 4K of RAM, and so this kit adds 128K to it. So it looks like the last thing to put on is the connector.
Nice. You know, I miss the way they used to expose those big fat buses off the back of the
I always found it was kind of clunky.
Remember in high school doing a Commodore 64 based monster controller thing that plugged in the back, used the parallel lines to let us control a little robot. Vast amounts of fun, and kind of electronics that we don't.
Yeah, if I'd done that back then, I probably would have thought it was neater, but I didn't really get to do that kind of stuff until the Arduino came out.
Well, I ignored it until then. It was just a 25-year gap there where, no.
Yeah, same. Did this stuff as a mid to late teenager and then did nothing for 20 more years.
Yeah.
And Arduino and a little bit of Raspberry Pi, but that's about it. Most of the Arduino stuff I do these days is remote control oriented. Greetings from Bulgaria, by the way.
Bulgaria.
Yeah, work trip.
A long time to haul there.
I'm sitting in the lobby or the lobby bar of the hotel.
Awesome.
There's the bartender trying to hide.
What time is it there?
It's just gone 8:30 in the evening. So
That's nice.
yeah.
I had a hard time trying to figure out what time I should do this because of all the different time zones of everybody that I talked to.
Probably the last thing you expected was an Australian to log in from Bulgaria. There you go.
So for the most awkward board design ever that's caused me no end of grief, I have a VIA sitting, I don't know if you can even see that on the camera that close. There's a VIA sitting roughly where the pin 1 mark goes, only in the wrong corner. So I've got the pin 1 mark in the other corner and this VIA in the way, which pisses me off because I keep getting the damn chip down wrong.
So Chris, I think I started following you because you started following me from Arduino related stuff, I think. Can't figure that out. Jeez.
Possibly, I don't know. I do Arduino stuff. I'm always trying to look for interesting things.
VMware remote control, one of those. Oh, Maker Faire. I went to Maker Faire in New York. I think I tweeted about that. I was lucky enough to be able to get up there for that weekend.
I went to the Maker Faire, the Bay Area Maker Faire, a couple years ago. I couldn't believe how crowded that was. That was just insane.
I've never been to anything like that before in my life. I was in seventh heaven. There were gadgets and toys everywhere. It was awesome.
Yeah, but it was the same thing at the Bay Area one, but it was so crowded you couldn't hardly see anything. Every table everywhere was just packed, and you had to just shove your way through everybody to try to see what they were showing.
Yeah. The thing that impressed me was the number of young kids that had really, really cool projects. You know, some retro, some new. Yeah. Really awesome. Because I was into electronics in a big way at school, and even my college, course that I did was, building multi-IO cards for IBM XT, compatible stuff. We had to build our own ISA boards with wire wrap and fun stuff, but I had never used it commercially. I think I did some work experience and weekend work soldering printer sharing systems when I was about 15. But that was just, factory cheap labor for the guys that were doing it in Queensland.
That's fabulous. I just realized you can just look at my head when I'm working down here. Needs a better camera. Yeah, it was my first job out of high school involved actually wiring a switch, a remote control switch onto a microscope. So I wanted to be able to track what pictures they were taking, when the shutter was going. And so the obvious way was to just put a relay on the switch and let the computer drive it.
Yeah.
And I can't believe that they let a 16-year-old just fuck around with their electron microscope.
Thousands of dollars worth of equipment, tens of thousands probably.
Just crazy.
I remember my first time of getting around inside a computer was in middle school, in, what was that, like 8th grade. We had an Apple II at home, but my dad would never let me get inside there and mess with it. So I was at school, and there's nobody around, so just students. I got to open it up and mess around, and everybody's like, wow, how do you know all that stuff? I was like, well, I have one at home, but my dad never lets me mess with it.
Yeah, I think if you want to pull something apart, you've got to pull it apart. It's the only way to figure out how these things work. Apparently, I did that to my father's wristwatch in the 70s when I was not even 10 years of age. I pulled apart his watch. The crazy thing is, I remember being told off for it. I don't remember pulling it apart, but I remember being told off for doing so. And I remember my response was something along the lines of, if you'd let me finish putting it back together again, it would work again. And they never let me do it.
All right, so the whole thing is assembled.
Awesome.
I can't tell which way is which because the Hangout mirrors it, and I have the camera turned the way so that it's straight, so it should be straight. And so turn off mirroring. So there's two jumpers up here at the top, but I actually have no idea which way they're supposed to be set.
One will either let it do what it's supposed to do, or the other one will let the magic smoke out.
Yeah. So, uh-oh. I think I put this thing all together backwards.
Oh. Yeah.
I'll bet the connector's supposed to go on the other way. because it ain't good.
Really awesome. Start with some reflow action.
All right, let me put it back around the other way, and let me go look and see if there's any instructions.
You lucky enough to have some hot air lying around?
Oh, I have this.
My God. It's got a bit of juice to it.
So taking that connector off is no big deal. Didn't think I was going to need to use that, though.
My email. Go away. It's a problem when you travel for business is you spend your time, browsing Facebook and whatever, Twitter, and then you realize you've left your work email on. Which I'll put out of that as well. What do you guys do for a living?
I do software development and DevOps type stuff. So,
And boy, I do software development, but no DevOps type stuff. So,
what do you classify as DevOps? Maintaining infrastructure for developers, or?
Coming up with the infrastructure, doing the system administration type stuff.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Having to deal with phone systems occasionally, which I try to avoid as much as I possibly can.
I work for a software-based company out of Maryland. I'm working in their IT team now. We do telephony soft switch applications, but I'm over in corporate IT now. So.
Okay, so everything looks like it's fine. I just need to put the connector on the back. All right. No big deal.
Oh, you haven't. You have. You've got game consoles behind you.
Arcade machines, yeah. The wall over there has 5 pinball machines. There's an air hockey table right there.
Mm-hmm. Ah, seventh heaven. I've just gotten back into woodworking.
just magic.
Oh, no way. You've got to look at those. Trying to thumb pressed solder suckers.
This is the best thing I have ever bought. I was broke 10 years ago and I kept wanting one. I should have bought it. It's crazy expensive and I rarely use it, but it is so worth it. So worth it.
Well, you're going to do in about 2 minutes what would take me an hour with a...
Yep. In fact, the connector will probably just fall off the back as soon as I get the last one out.
Awesome. It's funny, I wasn't looking at the picture-in-picture, I was just looking at the main image, and I saw the soldering iron part and heard this noise, and I thought, okay, what's going on here? And then I looked up to the... Yeah, I saw that in the picture-in-picture.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Oh, yeah, I guess you can see both of it, huh? Yeah.
Yeah. Sounds like a game of Frogger. So the arcade games, are they originals or MAME or?
The one directly behind me is MAME. The one To its left is a Gauntlet Legends that was in a converted Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles cabinet.
Wow.
And there's a Spider-Man.
On the back of a,
Oh yeah, and
an
over
or
there
something, wasn't it?
is a skee-ball machine.
Yeah. Gauntlet was the man on the emu or something, wasn't it? On a bird.
Gauntlet?
Gauntlet, wasn't it? That one.
Gauntlet's not. This is the later.
Oh no, that's the D&D one.
Kind of. It's a 4-player cooperative game.
Yep, I remember now.
Yeah.
What was the one with the guy flying around on a bird?
Okay, so I got it off. No problem.
Magic.
No big deal.
It's interesting because the board has it got solder pads on both sides? Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
That's confusing. Because they're through hole.
Oh, hey, here's the instructions on there. Let's see. Can you read it? No, other side.
Nice. Nice. You know, they did that on the second run, not on the first.
What's the rev on the board? 0.2?
No, it doesn't say anything. Oh yeah, it does. Rev A2.
Sweet.
Yeah, that's great, but I still didn't read it.
Come on, Matt. When's the last time you picked up a manual at work?
That's the thing with these kits too, is they don't. He just sends you all the parts, and you're kind of on your own to figure it out.
Yeah.
Let's have fun.
I had to go online and see if he had posted any pictures of the thing put together, so I could figure out that I did it wrong.
Well, thank you for the entertainment, guys. I appreciate it. After 4 nights in a hotel, I'm going a bit stir crazy watching YouTube videos of woodworking. Because the television here is, well, you can watch CNN, BBC News, and have hour back-to-back, plane crash bollocks on television, or you can listen to the Bulgarian dubbed copies of 1970s, cop shows.
I've always enjoyed the new dubs of Dynasty.
It's crazy. I mean, why even watch local TV these days? Because you can just get everything on your phone or your tablet or your laptop.
Yeah.
And I've got Plex, so pretty much everything I watch either is on Plex or is on Netflix. And there's a little bit that I still have on the TiVo, and my TiVo's old enough. I don't have remote access to the TiVo, but everything else is just.
I've got a TiVo back in Australia still. It's turned off now, but it was on for a few years. Connected with a Sling player. That's not a Sling, but it's Sling box.
Really?
Yeah. It was the Oz TiVo, the hacked version.
See, I've had no TV in my house for years and years, and now there's a PVR of some sort that came with my last internet upgrade that they desperately seem to want me to watch TV with. Turn it on because it's the thing. It's literally bound to my cable modem. It's the cable modem, and it does. Yeah.
That seems to be the thing these
My
days.
cable in the back. There's TV.
There's going to be a lot of bundling going on in the US at the moment. A couple of Australian mates of mine living over in, where are they? Northwest. What's that? Seattle, Washington. One of them's working, or two of them working for Amazon, but one in particular recently moved over. Putting the Australian point of view of, it's like, what? What are you doing to my internet connection? This is an internet connection, not a television connection.
Yeah, I'm up in the Canadian side of that corner right now, just in Victoria. Our cable choices aren't particularly attractive anyway.
All right. All right,
Oh,
so hunt down the instructions. Let me see if I can find anything about the jumper.
However, next weekend I am moving down to the Bay. Should be interesting. Been avoiding that for 20 years.
It's nice here.
Well, I know it's nice. I've just been avoiding doing it.
The Bay where exactly?
I'm down Mountain View.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
You're both in California?
I'm in Sacramento.
Oh, that's right. You did say that.
And I'll be down there in...
I grew up in Napa.
Nice. Very pretty.
Ah, so you're in Texas.
Very different moving to Sacramento after living in Napa for 20 years and such a small town, and now everything is 5 minutes from my house. Oh, you want to go to Fry's? Oh, it's over there. Oh, you want to go to a big woodworking store? Oh, it's over there.
Oh,
Everything is here.
heaven on a stick. I'm living in Belfast in Northern Ireland at the moment. Have been for 7 odd years. Plywood. They seem to use it for one thing here, and that's lining the back of vans and occasionally walls in, utility rooms in houses. So none of it's furniture grade. It's all, if you're lucky, you can get Meranti, but it's like $100 a sheet. Drives me nuts.
The thing that's sad in BC as far as woodworking goes is that it's all softwood. There's just, hardwood comes to the mountains, and it's just shockingly expensive.
Yeah.
So.
Seems Phoenix and Texas are very good with both softwoods and hardwoods.
A15, A14. Oh, there's nothing in the docs about these jumpers.
It's not booting?
I told you, one lets you smoke out.
Nothing in the docs about these jumpers.
Well, you're going to have to put a probe on it and see what it's connected to.
Yeah.
I'll just set them both to 0. One's called A15 and one's A14. It must have something to do with the address for... Oh, I bet I know what they are. They might be new things because there was something about that. This is a 27-128, and there was something about you could use a 27-512. So I'll bet you these are to set that so you can have different banks in the EEPROM. I'll bet that's what those are for. So I'll just set those to 0.
Oh, I found a link. This is a Coco 1 ECB ROM.
Which what?
I found something on Google.
All right, so let's switch this over.
So apparently the board is designed for a 27512. There's no reason you can't use it for a 128 or a 256 by setting the A14 or 15 jumpers to the correct values. This is the Coco ROM adapter?
This is the MC-10 adapter.
Okay. Looks like the Coco ROM adapter does the same thing and has the same jumpers. That's Google for you.
Hey, there we go.
Nice.
Wow.
Oh, sweet.
And I remember that color fidelity.
Okay, now how do I test that I have more RAM?
Make a really big array.
Oh, yeah, but it won't even, let's see. All right, back to see if there's any docs here. What's the hardware information?
What's really freaky here is seeing the build date being something in the 21st century. That's just wrong. Wow.
You could just poke a high address.
Well, yeah, I could do a poke and a peek, but my luck, I'll probably end up hitting one of the registers somewhere that's memory mapped.
Except the memory map. Oh god, yeah. How are you dodging the memory map with that memory extension?
All right, let's see. MC.
Is it directly addressable, or do you have to go through a register to get it in there?
Rigmaroles.
Like indirect map, direct map.
It's an 8-bit. There's no MMU. Everything, all the RAM is accessible to the CPU, except for anything that's been remapped for like ROM or any kind of register stuff.
Yeah. Man, the memories are flooding back.
And I don't remember. I know when I first got this maybe a year ago, I remember I looked up how to test to see how much RAM that was available, but I don't remember now.
Tundra, you're leaking. My dog is whining for his new walk.
Okay, so reset stays in there, so I turn it off. Turn it on.
Ah, damn
So 0 is probably the, yeah. Okay, so that's the basic. It's built in.
it.
I'm sure there's some. Actually, let's try something obvious. Nope. There we go. So that says 32K. So let's take that out.
So yeah, so you got that jumper though.
That's for the. I'm sure those jumpers are for the EEPROM. Okay, so here it is, without the without that installed. So there we go, 3K, because it's got 4K and 1K goes to the video. Okay, and here it is with the 16K pack. So it's got 20K because it's got the 16 plus the 4. And here is the 128 board. Let's go into the regular basic. So 32K, which I think they were saying something about that was the max that the basic could address without doing a lot of funny tricks. And let's see if the extended basic does anything different. Whoa, that's different. Okay. Oh, it's less. That's interesting. I guess the extensions must have eaten up more RAM. Well, it seems like it works fine, so I think I'm done here.
Well done.
And actually, just in time for a basic week on Retro Battle Stations. I got to see if I can port that the challenge we have this time.
Nice.
Well, Chris, thanks for sharing. I appreciate the.
It's nice meeting you guys.
distraction.
Take care.
Take
See
care.
you when you're